Hey, it's the ministry dude. Today is April 15th, 2023. I want to do a couple of Bible verses about love. Here's something from Corinthians 16:14. Let all that you do be done in love. Colossians 3:14. And above all, these put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. 1 Corinthians 13:13. So now faith, hope, and love abide. These three, but the greatest of these is love. If anybody has ever heard of a woman named Anita Bryant, she's back in the 60s and 70s. She was a Christian lady and she was anti gay. You know, with the Budweiser, Bud Light thing like that, I wanted to touch a little bit on some of this stuff here. You know, there was a saying back then if God wanted man to be gay, he would have created Adam and Steve. You know, while me being a straight man, I really don't understand the gay lifestyle. But I have to agree that God wants us to love one another. Now, Anita Bryant went about this the wrong way. You know, instead of crusading to condemn people for being gay, she should have prayed for their salvation and continued on with her life. All it did was, in the end, it just cost her a lot of money, you know, because sponsors dropped her and everything. And she really had a good thing going. She just, you know, but see, the thing is people are trying to include everybody in everything today, but you can't please everybody. You know, if somebody can't play baseball, for instance, do we give them a bigger glove so they can catch better? Or do we pitch slower to them? Or do we make home plate bigger? You know, if they can't read or write, do we just push them through anyways? You know, instead of getting to the root of the problem, everybody tries to put a band aid on it. You know, and then there's other people that are offended by names of products, you know, because they want to erase history, really. You know, their obsession really is only going to cause them suffering in the long run. You know, now these things like the gay lifestyle and, you know, racism and all that, it seems to be really front and center today. You know, it doesn't matter. You turn the TV on, no matter what you see, it has to do with either racism or the gay lifestyle or, you know, something negative, really. You know, people will say something, well, you know, they didn't hire me there because I was black or I was gay or I was something. It always comes down to something negative. Did you ever stop and think that maybe, you know, maybe they just didn't qualify for the job or they're just so much of a jerk or like that that you know people don't like them anyways. It doesn't matter what color their skin is. You know, I believe that you know people say that you know they do surveys and they say 3 out of 5 people you know support the gay lifestyle. But you know, how do we really know what that is? I think it's closer to like 1 in 5 myself. You know, most people are afraid to speak out and speak their own mind because of fear of reprisal, because the devil goes to great lengths to really push this agenda of his. You know, and then they cry racism because our ancestors were slaves and they think they need to be compensated for what their ancestors went through. You know, not only were black people slaves, but white people were too. The Asian people, you know, everybody, every race, it don't matter, they were slaves. You know, they've got this, you know, they got sex slaves now. It don't matter what color you are or who you are, they don't discriminate. You know, they say that, you know, we stereotype people like blacks, but they're the ones that have the all black channel. You know, it's love after lockup, it's during lockup, it's before lockup. You know, even gay people have their own television channels. You know, if we had a straight white TV network, people would cry racism. You know, if it's good for them, why shouldn't it be good for us? You know, our privileged white butts, we work 40 to 60 hours a week at jobs that a lot of people hate and they barely get by at. And this is privilege for what we get for being white. You know, these BLM and LGBTQ groups, they're very powerful groups and they have money backing them from politicians and other wealthy people who want nothing but to divide this world so we don't uncover their agenda of greed and corruption. Look at the backlash from Bud Light because they included a trans male on the can. Now, if people were so gay friendly, as many believe us to be, something like this never would have happened. That just goes back to what I said earlier. 1 in 5 people, I think. How many parents do you know that have, homosexual children will say, well, I'm really proud of my son. Yeah, they're proud of them because they're their kid. But deep down inside, it just angers them. There's a lot of families that are torn apart because of that. And if you say anything negative about, gay or black people, it turns into a circus, they start crying like babies over, well, we're racist against them. Whatever happened to free speech, they've taken, Aunt Jemima off of, pancake syrup and pancake mix. Uncle Ben, he was taken off of rice, and the Indian maiden was taken off of, the butter. Pro sin world, and if any, it's a pro sin world, really. If you say anything they don't want to hear, they can't just try to cancel you. I had a couple of my videos taken off of YouTube because I said something about, the gay lifestyle. If people want to live their own life the way they want to, that's fine. But, it doesn't have to be front and center, in front of everybody else to see, because I certainly don't want to watch 2 men or 2 women kissing on TV. If I don't like a Ford, I'm going to say so. But if I don't approve of somebody's lifestyle, then I'm racist. You know, I mean, when is it okay to have a drag queen read a story to children because people want to include them, but it's not okay for a Christian to read a story because they don't include the included drag queens in their beliefs? It's okay to be offended by a black woman on a maple syrup bottle, or a black man on a rice box, or an Indian maiden on a butter carton because it demeans them. Yet it is offensive for Bud Light drinkers to be offended by a man who is now a woman on a beer can. It's okay to open our borders to illegal aliens and print more money to take care of them, but our homegrown people go without medical care and housing. It is okay to make laws to protect people from themselves, but those same laws don't apply to the lawmakers. That's really my view on things. I believe everybody has the right to live their life the way they want to. But there's just so many people pushing them to try to say, well, you got to accept them, and you got to accept them, and you got to accept them. We don't have to accept anybody. But as a Christian, we try to love everybody. But sometimes people are just so obnoxious and annoying, but if you say anything about it, then, all of a sudden you're racist. Well, that's not really the case. The powers that be are trying to divide this country. There's a man named George Soros. He don't like Republicans. He's all for Democrats and everything. I'm a Republican myself, but I don't hate the Democrats. They got a job to do. A lot of them don't do it, but they got a job to do, just like everybody else does. Well, this is Mark the Ministry Dude. I'm going to sign off for today. I just want you to think about things like this, I mean, what is really going on in this world? Stop and think about it for a minute. What is really people's agendas? It's not because of their gay lifestyle, or if they're black, or if they're yellow or red or green, whatever. It's about them wanting control over everything. That's what it all boils down to. Power and money. Think about it. We love you, and we hope you all have a blessed day. And we'll see you again in our next video.